heard best-selling author John le Carré give an interview in which he spoke about the role of conflict in fiction. He said, "The cat sat on the mat is not a story, but the cat sat on the dog's mat. That's the beginning of a story." If his words make you smile, you've already got a good sense about conflict in storytelling. But now, let me give you a deeper analysis. Readers love to see characters forced to grapple with a crisis. Why? It's not because we're sadists. It's because we read novels to experience an emotional bond with a character who faces a dilemma. We feel, what would I do in that situation? That's a big part of fiction's appeal. Yet, emerging writers often shy away from depicting their characters' conflict. This just undermines the power of the narrative, because nothing moves forward in a story except through conflict. In the planning stage of all my novels, I've asked myself, partly in jest, what could possibly go wrong for these characters? Ask yourself the same question about the story you're developing. What could go wrong? And then, seriously, make that happen. Embrace all the richness that conflict gives you as a writer. Here are 3 tips for mastering conflict in your story. Tip number 1, don't let the word conflict intimidate you. Conflict does not mean combat. It just means problems. What problems does your main character face in trying to achieve his or her goal? When you create situations that put increasing pressures on them, forcing them to make difficult choices, the actions they take will eventually reveal their true nature. And this holds as true for a Jane Austen heroine as for the hero in a Stephen King thriller. Tip number 2, escalate the conflict gradually. To be believable, characters in a story, just like people in real life, will naturally start by taking the most conservative action possible to get what they want. If instead they leap into taking extreme action, they'll seem unrealistic and you'll lose your reader. So the long middle section of your book will be composed of a series of events that spring from conflict that gradually escalates. Tip number 3. Your main character can be in conflict on 3 possible levels. The first is internal conflict, conflict with oneself. The second is external conflict in the form of interpersonal relationships, family, friends, colleagues. And 3, extrapersonal conflict, conflict with the larger community in the form of institutions such as government, the church, the school system, the army. We are moved most deeply by stories in which characters are engaged in all 3 levels of conflict. That's partly what creates the enduring power of classics like David Copperfield, Frankenstein, A Passage to India, Heart of Darkness, The Grapes of Wrath, Gone with the Wind, To Kill a Mockingbird. Never shy away from pushing your characters into the swirling currents of conflict. It will prove their mettle and make them reveal their true selves. Happy, conflict-fueled writing.